He entertained children. He dressed as a clown for birthday parties. He hosted barbecues. He was a successful contractor, a family man, and even met First Lady Rosalind Carter. But beneath the painted smile was something far darker. Because while the neighborhood saw a man who gave back to the community, the truth was buried, literally, in the crawl space beneath his house. By the time police finished digging, they'd uncovered 29 bodies under his floorboards. And the final count would reach 33 young men and boys. He didn't just kill, he hunted, tortured, and toyed with his victims. And through it all, he kept smiling. This is the true story of John Wayne Gacy, the serial killer who performed as a clown, while committing crimes too gruesome for even nightmares. John Wayne Gacy was born in Chicago, 1942, the second of 3 children. His father, a World War II veteran, was an alcoholic who regularly beat him and called him Sissy and Mama's boy. Still, Gacy tried to prove himself. He got involved in school politics. He volunteered. He became the kind of guy people described as eager to help, always smiling, and good with kids. But behind the charm, there were early signs of danger. In 1968, he was convicted in Iowa of sexually assaulting a teenage boy. He served only 18 months. When he was released, he moved back to Chicago, started his own construction business, and remarried. From there, Gacy would build 2 lives, one as a respected community figure, the other as one of the deadliest serial killers in U.S. history. Gacy loved attention. He created a clown character called Pogo. He performed at children's hospitals, parades, and charity events. To the public, Pogo was harmless, wholesome. But for Gacy, dressing up as a clown wasn't just entertainment, it was power. He once told a reporter, "You can get away with a lot when you're in clown makeup." And he did. While the makeup was on, the mask of normalcy stayed intact. But when it came off, his other life took over. One where he lured, assaulted, and murdered dozens of young men, sometimes even while wearing the costume. Gacy targeted young men, usually teenagers. He found them through his construction business, lured them with job offers, or picked them up at bus stops. He would bring them back to his house, often under the pretense of work or partying. Then he'd offer drinks, weed, sometimes just conversation. And then came the handcuff trick. He'd show them how to escape handcuffs, a magician's trick. Then he'd put the cuffs on them and say, "The trick is, you have to have the key." And there was no key for what came next. Once restrained, Gacy's victims were beaten, violated, and in many cases, strangled with a rope or board while he watched them die. Afterward, he would sometimes keep the bodies under his bed for days. Eventually, he buried most of them in the crawl space beneath his house. Others were dumped in rivers. Neighbors often complained about a horrible smell coming from his house. He blamed it on moisture, mold, or dead rodents. No one suspected the truth, that his home had become a mass grave. Gacy was nearly caught multiple times, but always managed to talk his way out. Until December 1978. A 15-year-old boy named Robert Peast went missing after telling his mother he was going to see a man about a construction job. That man was John Wayne Gacy. Police questioned him. He denied everything, but something felt off. So they watched him, followed him, and eventually got a search warrant. What they found in his house was chilling. A class ring. Clothing that didn't belong to him, a trapdoor to the crawl space. And then the digging began. On December 22, 1978, officers pulled up the floorboards. The smell hit them first, then the sight. Human remains, one after another. They stopped counting at 29. Eventually, the total would reach 33 confirmed victims, all young men and boys, ages 14 to 21. Many of the bodies were so decomposed they were never identified. Some were buried directly under his hallway. Others were stacked. One detective said it was like a horror movie set. Gacy was arrested, and the full extent of his crimes began to unfold. In 1980, Gacy went to trial. He admitted to the murders but claimed insanity, blaming multiple personalities. The prosecution disagreed. They argued he was cold, calculating, and fully aware of what he was doing. The jury agreed. He was found guilty on 33 counts of murder, the most ever for one person in U.S. history at that time. He was sentenced to death. Over the years, he gave interviews, sold paintings, claimed innocence, then confessed again. He was executed by lethal injection in 1994. What makes someone like Gacy? Experts say he fit the profile of a high-functioning sociopath, intelligent, charming, able to mimic empathy but completely devoid of real remorse. He lived a double life. Not because he had to, but because he enjoyed the control it gave him. He told victims he was the judge, jury, and executioner. He had a God complex and saw human life as disposable. Even in death, he showed no regret. His final words, "Kiss my ass." Gacy's case changed how America viewed serial killers. He wasn't a drifter or a loner. He wasn't an outsider. He was in the community. He hosted events. He smiled in photos. He was even politically connected. And yet, he was burying bodies beneath his floor. It showed that evil could hide in plain sight, behind charm, behind success, behind a painted smile. John Wayne Gacy didn't just commit murder. He mocked trust. He violated innocence. He wore the face of joy while carrying out horror. The scariest monsters aren't always the ones who lurk in the dark. Sometimes they're the ones making your kids laugh, hosting community events, smiling for the camera. They don't wear masks. They wear makeup. They wear titles. They wear normalcy like armor. This was the story of John Wayne Gacy. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more true crime stories, where the scariest truths hide behind the most ordinary faces. Stay aware, stay curious, and always look behind the smile.